This weekend sees the return of rugby's RBS Six Nations. For a preview of that, plus the key Premier League football games, I'm joined by our stellar lineup of Bet Butlers, Nigel Seeley, and Reuters' Owen Wyatt. Stellar indeed. Gents, thanks very much for joining us once again. Let's kick off with the football. Owen, Man City, Liverpool, both very active in the transfer market this season for different reasons, though. City selling Balotelli and Liverpool bringing in Sturridge and Coutinho. But what do you make of the squads for the run into the end of the season?
I like Liverpool to get the top four place. I think the signing of Coutinho shows just how far they've come since Dalglish left. Took a little time under Rodgers to gel together. There are a lot of sceptics about his football philosophy and Raheem Sterling and those kind of guys. But they seem to be pulling it together. I think Coutinho is an excellent signing, and I really fancy them for a run to the top four. City, on the other hand, 0-0 against QPR. Good move getting Balotelli out of the mix, but I just don't think they've got it this season. I think United are going to stroll to the title.
Nigel, we've always talked a lot this season about Van Persie being the buy of the season, but could it be that the loss of Yaya Toure to the African Nations Cup could be sealing City's fate, effectively?
Yeah, perhaps so. I mean, we have to wait and see on that. Obviously, I think the big blow for them is Kompany not playing. He's obviously injured for this game, and he's the big blow for them. But saying that, they've gone on 6 games without conceding a goal. The problem for them so far has been scoring goals. I mean, they had the swagger last season towards their title, with scoring goals at plenty. And Liverpool are quite defensively quite solid at the moment. So I think it's an intriguing game. I mean, Liverpool were very heavily punted.
Apart from in the FA Cup, if I remember rightly.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, that doesn't count, apparently, according to Liverpool fans.
Oh, OK.
But, I mean, if you Liverpool have always, whoever they play, are always backed. They were very, very heavily supported against Arsenal. We didn't finish Costa finishing line there, but they showed signs they were doing well. The thing I would worry about here is that Liverpool have got an awful record against teams in the top half of the table. They haven't beaten a team in the top half of the table.
Okay.
I think this will be quite a low-scoring game. I think under 2.5 goals here at 23-20 represents much better value than the over 2.5 goals at 4-6. But on the outcome of the victory, I think Liverpool will be tempted at 7-2, but I think City may just nick it 1-0, and that's why I think the under 2.5 goals is probably where to go.
OK, let's move on to Newcastle at Chelsea. Owen, Newcastle got their first win in ages against Villa. Chelsea coming unstuck again against Reading this week. Do you think the Newcastle, that new French contingent, is going to keep them heading in the right direction?
I think absolutely. I mean, I look at Newcastle and what they've done this January. It's what I wanted my team, Fulham, to do. Decisive, quick spending on a reasonable basis, bringing in good, talented players. French internationals galore. I think they're just going to go up and up now. I think only going to go down from last season, which is what they did at the beginning of the year. But they've got it right in the scouting network and the transfer policy. And we already saw with the game against Villa that it pays dividends. I think really smart January for Newcastle, only way is up. Chelsea, I think, looking at what they're doing, I think a lot of the fans are going mad about Benitez. Why didn't he play Terry last night, etc., etc. Benitez, I think, is in there to gradually just work out and just sideline the old school players from Chelsea, the Terrys and the Lampards. It's not an easy job. Somebody had to do it. He's doing it, and they'll be lucky. I think top 4 is all they can expect this season.
OK, and Nigel, hard for punters to predict what Chelsea will actually do, apart from possibly that Mata will score. I mean, that's about the only surety.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Chelsea, they seem to be very heavily supported when they're away from home. At home, people think the crowd get on Benitez's back. Away from home, they have the freedom. But conceding 2 goals in the last 4 minutes against Reading is not really the kind of thing you want to back for a team odds on at Newcastle. Now, Newcastle have a terrible, terrible record at home to Chelsea. Chelsea have got a brilliant record going up there, and it's not the fortress it was. Owen's point about the French guys coming into the league, they started off very well, but I'll tell you what, you would love to be playing against Aston Villa. This is real test for them at the moment, see how good they are against Chelsea. I mean, I could have starred against Aston Villa in that midfield the week they were abysmal.
It's a shame. I mean, I tipped Villa for a relegation battle at the beginning of the year. I don't often get them right, but I did say they're more likely to get relegated than finish in the top half. But now I'm seeing this happen to Villa. I actually feel sorry for Lambert, because I think what he's doing is pretty brave as well.
Doing the right thing,
yeah.
But
I mean, because Fulham, and I am going to try and mention them as many times as I can.
We have noticed.
What will be my last show. Fulham are going the other way, bringing in players just to keep them up. Your Karagounis's who will just do enough. Villa have gone the other way, saying, right, we're going to build a young team and we're going to get this something together.
Pay the price for it.
And I think they're going to pay the price.
Just one thing, away from the game, just a bit of the story about Chelsea. Since in the last 48 hours or so, there's been a massive gamble on Gus Poyet to be the next Chelsea manager. He's gone from 100 to 1 to 4 to 7 So that's big money. So there's the murmurs are coming out now. Rumours are coming out from Chelsea that Gus Poyet could be earmarked for the taking over. And then if the money talks, it's certainly the man you want to be on.
So you heard it there. Heard it here first on that one. Let's go from the football to the rugby then, and let's go through this weekend's. Yes, we have to, because it means we can't talk about Fulham. Let's talk about the games this weekend then before we talk about the overall winner. Wales-Ireland, probably the hardest one to pick, Nigel, do you think?
Definitely. I mean, usually Wales-Ireland games, if it was the last game of the season, I would turn around and say go over the points because it's free-flowing attacking style they both like to play. Wales have been friendless in the market instead of defending champions in this competition. Nobody really wants to back them. Home advantage in rugby is the most crucial thing you can possibly imagine. 8-11, you've got Wales here to win this game. 6-5, Ireland. The bookies can hardly split them, but I think the money will come for the Irish. I think the first half, what you find in the first games of Six Nations is the first half is very tight. Both teams are very physically fit. They've been working on it, and there's no injuries. The second half, it all explodes. So if you're playing in running on the spreads or whatever you want to have a bet on, be very cautious for the first half, but the second half maybe go over when fitness levels drop.
Okay. How's the weather going to come into it?
Well, they've got a roof.
Are they going to put it on?
I don't know. I mean, he laughs at me about the weather, but I love the weather. England and Scotland on Saturday. If it does rain, that'll be under the points. But the one thing about Scotland, they never, ever, ever get heavily beaten by England. They always lose to England.
Yeah, okay.
But it's very, very, very...
What weather conditions do Italy need to beat France?
They need...
They need more than the weather.
Anything will go. But England, Scotland, just by my the handicap will be around about 16 points for England. Scotland, like I say, never, ever, ever get hammered. So if you are playing on the spreads, there's very little downside to buy England.
Final thought then from both of you, who will win the actual tournament? And I'm drop in here that England and France both have to go to Ireland. So who's going to win it, Owen? The actual
I don't want to answer that. What I want to answer is wooden spoon. I think the interesting bet on this is Wales not to win a game. There's something wrong with that squad. Something's switched off. And I think they could go winless for the whole tournament. I'd put money on that.
Okay.
I think England will win it, but I don't think there'll be a Triple Crown winner. I think this will be the most open Six Nations ever, all going into the last game. Everyone will beat everybody, but I think England will win it.
Gents, thank you very much indeed for that. We will leave it there. That is it for another week. My thanks to Owen and Nigel. Join us again next time when we'll be looking ahead to the last 16 of the Champions League. I'm Nigel Stevenson. This is Reuters.